To every musician asking, why bother? This video is for you. So many musicians have a secret fear that our music doesn't really matter in today's world. And this secret fear can take many different forms in terms of physical tension, creative blocks, sort of a mechanical sound, difficulty making a living, difficulty getting your music heard. All of these things are both symptoms and further causes of this fear. Does your art even matter? And when I bring that question up with musicians in my life, they almost everybody goes, oh. Right? So this is a really common, if not often addressed question. And if you're asking this question at some level, then again, this video is for you. My name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a violinist, Alexander Technique teacher, award-winning author, and director of the Soulforce Arts Institute. And today we're going to be talking about the cheery subject of despair. What gold lies under that despair, why it's so important actually to process your despair, to understand it more, to understand that heartache around your music, because it might very well be the source of your greatest creative energy. So, yeah, and it'll also help you make music that actually matters. So underneath the despair is something really valuable. So we're going to talk about that today. So first I'll share a little bit about my own story with this. Like I said, I'm a violinist, and I went to music school, high hopes that I would be able to have a thriving career as a violinist. And that sure didn't happen in the way that I thought it would. I had terrible injuries in both arms, repetitive strain injuries, and so I when I graduated, I could barely play still, and I didn't even want to become an orchestral musician, which is really what I was trained for, although I did get a degree in jazz. And even then, I was so unprepared for just life as a professional musician. Oh, there's the bus across the street. I was so unprepared for life as a professional musician. I had no real skills or networking abilities. And anyway, so this led to a long period of sort of isolated musicianship. I played some gigs here and there, and I made some recordings, and I had fun composing, but I did all that in isolation. And then years later, I tried running my own musical group, and that fell through, and I wrote a book and just published that last year, and tried my hardest to build a career on that, and a lot of what I thought I would be able to accomplish fell through as well. And each of these times, each of these experiences I had led to a great deal of despair. I had this longing to share my gifts and have them be well received, and it just didn't happen in the ways that I wanted. And I look back on it, it's not because I don't have something valuable to share. I have something very valuable to share. My playing, my violin playing, people tell me they love to hear me play. And people who read my book say how meaningful and important it is. And yet, if that's true, why am I not a famous violinist, right? Why am I not a famous author? And so there's this mismatch between our gifts so often and our world's ability to receive them. And this leads to heartbreak. It leads to despair. I'm sure you can resonate with what I'm talking about. There are a lot of reasons for all of this. I'll just say very simply, our world isn't really set up economically to support the arts and to support our gifts our sacred creative gifts. And so, in a sense, it's not your fault. This is the system we live in. So the first step so this is the system we live in, and there is a path forward here, a path forward to a meaningful life. And a meaningful life happens when you give your gifts well and they are well received. So the first step to finding that meaningful life, to finding that joyful, thriving music career, if that's what you're looking for, is to process your despair. Because you've probably been at this for a while now and have probably felt that despair. And maybe that despair is, I don't know, maybe you think that it seems like there's something wrong with you, or that it's something that you should just get over, or that it means that you're secretly lazy or something like that. It doesn't mean any of that. And if you ignore or repress the despair, it's only going to get worse. And then you'll always have that hollow feeling in your life. But if you face it, and if you go down to the very depths of it, if you let yourself feel it fully and really understand it all the way down, deep down, then you'll be very pleasantly surprised, I think, at the insights and creative energy that you get. So what is despair? Despair is what happens when your deepest love doesn't find a home. Despair is what happens when your deepest love doesn't find a home. And so, or at least hasn't found a home yet. Maybe I'll put it that way. So, if you want to find a home for your longing, your soul's longing to express yourself, to make something beautiful, to connect with your community, right? And this is what we do as artists. Then here are some steps. So I'm going to suggest this journaling exercise, and I'll put this in the description below. But if you want to follow along with your journal and pause the video, that would be a good idea as well. So the first step is to name it. I feel despair because, and then you write, you complete that sentence. So I feel despair because, and then you validate it. It makes sense that I feel this way because. It makes sense that I feel this way because. And then you meet it with love and understanding. You say, dear despair, what do you want me to know about what's most important in life? Or what do you want me to know about what matters most to me? And you have a dialogue with the part of you that's feeling despair. And it's so important that when you do this, you do it very gently, and you always assume that your despair has a positive intention, because it does. Even if it's painful, even if you've struggled with it for ages, the despair has a positive intention. And when you assume that positive intention and you ask a question like, dear despair, what do you want me to know about what matters most to me? Then you're going to get some really amazing answers. This is the gold in the dragon's lair. And finally, and so then I want you to listen quietly. And you're going to get answers in the form of words maybe, or images, feelings, intuitions, hunches, right? Things like that. So stay open to your senses. And then finally, you're going to make some affirmation statements. Even though whatever happened to me, I still believe X. Even though, maybe even now, I still want X. So affirm that soul's longing, your soul's longing that's been hiding underneath the despair. Okay, so if you do that journaling exercise, maybe a couple times this week, I bet you'll be very pleasantly surprised at what comes up. You're going to get new insights, and you're going to get new creative energy. I did this recently, which is why I'm making this video. And boy, it was so helpful. I got a bunch of new insights and new creative energy and sort of a new direction to go in, which I'll be sharing about soon. And, well, yeah, maybe I'll share a little bit about that for myself, and then I'll leave you with some final thoughts. So, for me, the despair that I was feeling, I guess you could say, came down to a sort of disconnection from the sacred core of what I offer. And that's in terms of my violin playing, and also in terms of my teaching and the message of my book. You know, this has been quite a journey to get here, because I grew up in an atheistic household, and you know, our culture in the US is largely secular, at least in the big cities. And so I came from a place of disconnection from the sacred. And over the course of my life, I've had so many experiences in meditation and with psychedelics and in therapy and in nature and with friends and just all kinds of places where I realized, oh yeah, life really is sacred. And maybe not in a religious, any kind of religious dogmatic way, but life is sacred. It just is. And music is sacred. And the kinds of effects that I want to have as a musician are so much more than mere virtuosity. It's about the inspiration, and the healing and connection. I want to bring people to life through my music. I want to heal their souls. And the same through my teaching. And what I realized over the past year of trying to build my career around my book is that I've been trying to do it in sort of conventional, secular ways. And, you know, just like conventional marketing. I'm sure that works for some people, but it really didn't work for me. Really didn't work. I burnt myself out and just felt misaligned, no matter how hard I tried. Still felt misaligned with who I am. You know, a lot of people feel that a lot of what's out there in terms of marketing efforts is pretty icky, salesy. And what I realized is that I was trying to fit my sacred soul into a system that had no space for it, into a little box. And so I've decided to move out of that. I do run the Soulforce Arts Institute, after all. That's the word soul. So this is a big part of what I'm going to be offering going forward, is how to connect with the sacred in your art, in your music, and how doing so answers so many of musicians' challenges, and artists' challenges, just really mundane stuff like why your back is getting tired when you're sitting in rehearsal for so long, or you know, the more existential things like does my art even matter, and how do I make a living that's in alignment with who I am. So you can expect more of that to come. So I'll leave you with some final thoughts here. So if you are burnt out, if you are in despair, if you're thinking, why bother, maybe I should just give up on music or the arts altogether, I want you to know that I see you. I feel your pain. I've been there, and there are answers. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling that way. It makes perfect sense that you feel that way, given what's in your heart and the shape of economic life around us. So this despair then is your golden thread. It is your way out of the labyrinth. I know it doesn't look like that way from the surface, but it really is. So your despair, your burnout is an opportunity. Your grief is an opportunity. Process it fully. And you'll discover your purpose. You'll discover your soul force. You'll discover a whole new source of creative energy. And yeah, you'll be able to create, from a deeper place, from a more soulful place, and create things that really move and transform people's lives. So that's what's on offer here, through the doorway of your despair, your burnout, and your grief. And I'll tell you what, this is how you make art that matters. This is how you do it. This is the creative source of art that actually matters in today's chaotic world that's gone mad. This is how you do it. Okay, that's all for now. I hope you found that helpful. Stay tuned for more content like this. And yeah, if you want to get my PDF guides, that's the word, you can go to my website, soulforcearts.com. You can sign up there. I have a bunch of them. I'll be creating some more soon. And otherwise, please do reach out. Let me know what you think about this. I'd love to hear from you. All right, see you next time.